Alright, shall we get back into it? I love this song. I love this game's soundtrack so much, you guys. This has been great. Also, yeah, I mean, I will completely admit that doing Ace Attorney streams is very much a test of stamina for me. Case 5 is the only case I have not done in one stream. So I'm hoping to get it done in 2. We'll see what happens. But now I can finally get these Wario and Waluigi as people off the stand, huh? Let's get back to it. "17th April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey Defense Antechamber." Ah, Gina, how are you holding up? Starting to feel quite warmly told her frequent cold shoulders now. Ginny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard? Likes me. What? Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder? Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. Yeah, that was a 7.5-hour stream, I think. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees it's gonna think that I did it, right? Ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Ginny, why don't you talk to us? That's what really happened that night. Eh? Rune has cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Right, Iris? And we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. I slipped out and went then straight to the 2-to-1 to Winterbank's place. I had to know. Iris' story was there or not? The Count of the Baskervilles. Yeah. I don't know what it's about or nothing. If you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what you don't want people reading. That's why you like the Iris by sticking it in log with Winterbank for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Winterbank's. I didn't know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that stuff was gonna kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was as dark as you like in there. It's a great song. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick. That's when... What do you think you're doing? I nearly died, I did, and the next thing I knew... I'd grabbed the gun up on a counter and was waving it in the air like, I don't know what. Who was the girl who was in bed this afternoon? I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script, have you got it here? It showed the Sholmes lead a load of papers with you, a story. I beg your pardon? The end of the something or other. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see if it's here, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. For pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? Then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. And it was there alright, the mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny. Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick up out in the shop. Out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you. Now, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go to the storeroom myself when... Bang, bang. I heard a couple of shots go off. Two, I think, almost at the same time. And then there it was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windibank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. Figured I'd put up a fight at least. When I got a better look at him, I knew he was dead. Windibank was a goner. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I've done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course they did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me. It'll be alright, Jenny, don't worry. Just stay strong for a little longer. Runa's about to put the real culprit to the mill. That cove what was there in the afternoon? That Eggert Benedict. I still remember how he looked at me. Like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet. I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Probably names for like, I don't know, what's a way that you could do eggs? You can't do eggs au gratin, but AG makes me think of au gratin. Anyway, thanks for telling us what happened, Genus. I appreciate your honesty. What? You can leave it all in Runa's capable hands now, Ginny. Mr. Nara Odo. How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGill did. We told you a pack of lies. And you got the bug to her off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh, I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. What if I'm lying? If we working to get another killer off the hook for all you know? So be it, Gina. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You are? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe me. It wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Bruno. There was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. My boyfriend. Inosuke. No one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute unwavering belief in him. This is so sweet. Since then, I came to realize that if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. you saying? I promised Eugenia that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver, I'm no good liar. You're not like me, Gilded. I know that. Eh? That's right. You're our friend, Ginny. Haters. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes. That's really all we needed to know. Exactly. Mr. Naruto, I mean, I... Thank you. Oh no, Gina. Honey. Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. Gina, this is so sweet. Oh my god. I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well how hard it was to put all your faith in me. I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. Hope you're watching over me too, partner. Oh! Girl, we all know there's more to this. I don't think Egbert Benedict is the big bad of this whole game. No Bailey courtroom. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Manzix, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. Let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's précis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. It's a big mistake to cross Farley and me. A very big mistake. My lord! The subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Oh, well. Thank you, sir. Show him to the stand without delay. Egbert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon. Certainly not like this. He didn't do it, dude. Why are they still on the stand? Get them out of here. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena with such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon. Oh, Ash Gray, I get it. Communications officer. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communications Station. Now perhaps somebody would kindly explain what this is all about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume? Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place on the pawnbrokers on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Without further delay, the court will hear testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Gladly, my lord, gladly. I've got the moves like Jagger. I've got the moves like Jagger. I've got the moves like Jagger. Maybe I can try something later. Oh, naturally, I have occasion to make use of the pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the palace on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found. Pawnbroking, yes. Some scaramouche decided to do the fandango. The detective's homebrew tincture can hardly be taken as serious. So you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say, I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by the self-professed detective's toy was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Seem we have the misfortune, and it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. My golly. How long am I expected to be detained here? If, following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea, some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So we meet again, Mr. Egbert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon. Enchanté. So... I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding your flashy white hat while we do. You know, he looks better without the hat, honestly. Naturally, I'll have to occasion. Oh, right. We did this already.
Hold it!
Yes, we even met in the very pawnbroker where the crime took place in the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Egbert Benedict, I believe. Tell me what made you. The witness is here to testify about the events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. He's going to be evasive, is he, in an effort to not give anything away? It's going to be tricky.
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals, said my man who introduced himself as Egbert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in the black. The boss. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, it was actually Lord Chief Justice Strongheart, so if you want to take it up with him, honey. Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. Be able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, you are under obligation to prove his... yes, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. Got a little ahead of myself there. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A silent victory wiggle. Thanks.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I'm not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be so sure that the blood is mine? could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Sir Sean, spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character, anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know that. He's a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the wrong narrative. Oh, hey, mate.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. What's up, Nate? How you doing? Good to see you. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. I've had it up to here with this. How many times have I got to tell you? Yes, I know. You're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Gor blimey, Governor. You're what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Yeah, how you been, dude? It's good to see you. Would you care to share that thought with the court? Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. I must have been him. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Same shit, different pair of pants. Oh, I feel that, man, let me tell you. Basically the same for me. I mean, grad school's been putting me through the ringer, I tell you. Nothing. Honest, Gov, nothing. I was just thinking. If he waves his arm around that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? I took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up just yet. So I was, well, you know... I was worrying for him, and you just proved that you... Oh, Alice Bells, you just proved you knew him. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. We hear villain Bolshevik in the jury. Did you say? Did the funny lawyer man just say, comrade? My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. Yeah, I enrolled in grad school. Going for a master's in cybersecurity. I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer everything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand as if in pain. No. I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I mean, I've taken classes in, like, ethical hacking and stuff like that, and computer forensics, and, like, software vulnerability analysis, but a lot of it, some of the stuff is theoretical. Some of it's, like, the law of, like, privacy and intellectual property, and some of it's, you know, cryptography. Well, I'm taking a cryptography course right now that's killing me. And then I'm taking, like, a class about cybersecurity in space systems. It's really cool. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense at the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windback's pawnbroker. My lord, the defense would like that. That's an easy statement. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Grayson. Hey, sometimes it takes time, Westford. Nothing wrong with that. Would it be this? Because I don't have the fucking picture.
Objection!
Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Braden? Why, is it supposed to mean something? This was, until the day of its murder, in pawned in Mr. Windbank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try and take it away from her. And somebody was you, of course, wasn't it, Mr. Braden? As I've reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there's a small smear of blood on the disc. Ah yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right, the surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In that skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears remnants of that skirmish in the form of the smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse us to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now? You admit that you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant? Order, order! Well, Mr. Graydon? It would appear as though there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own at pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the point. It says for McGilded on it. Oh, okay. wait, cut in front and detonate on me. I know, right, Paper Star? Note on the disc saying for McGilded, but that item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say, the famous London philanthropist, who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder. So I've thought about it, but I did manage to line up a job for after I graduate, and they told me I don't need to worry about it. Yes, my lord, the one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon, are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself are acquainted? Were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order! Well, certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, the disc was placed in the pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windibank's. Hindsight, Westford. What matters isn't necessarily the past, but what you do in the future. Past can make it, depending on what you did in the past, could make it a little bit tougher or easier, but never impossible. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it? I know, yeah, believe me, I gotcha. No likelihood he's lying. He appeared that afternoon at Windbanks in order to get his hands on McGilda's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. The disc.
Hold it!
Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the service provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. This is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. Claim that was your overcoat, it didn't even fit you. Obviously, and in my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet there is a note on it that reads formerly gilded. I am a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. Gilded at a gentleman's club in the city. Really? That's what they're going to talk about? Did gentleman's club mean something different in 1900 Britain? Because, like, that is not something I would have expected to find reference to in Ace Attorney. He shared my penchant in that area. So, this question. A pre-production sample. It was different? Okay. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat that you were forced to pawn? That was not a question. But then you forgot that it was the pocket of the overcoat that you were forced to pawn. Oh, okay. Yes. Exactly. Nina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? A lot of hoopla, indeed. Oh, because McGilda had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. It means that we dig too deeply here. It's going to expose Jean's perjury. Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. But I gotta sneeze again, hold on. Oh, I'm not catching cold. Did I read this one already? I can't remember. Oh, okay, that was still the first one, okay.
Hold it!
Lifted the ticket from pocket. That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her client frequently.
Objection!
Mr. Side did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl's a regular offender. Came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windibanks. Get your hands on Mr. McGilden's disc.
Objection!
I forgot about the drawing. My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be. Now that we have a high society gentleman on the stand as part of this case, I feel like I can make the connection better between him and Lord Strongheart. I am not letting this go.
Hold it!
Have you ever been to Windibanks before? Only once for the purposes of pawning something, but like many, I do enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first. Such is the odd. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbroker at once in order to repair my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place.
Hold it!
This is either going to be a thing where you press all 5 statements and say, you don't have anything, fucker. Yes, it was taking my expected grace, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man.
Is that right? Excuse me!
Please tell me more. Tell me more, tell me more. Something wrong, Inspector. What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets. Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly. Yeah, that's what I think. If the contradiction's super obvious, I might go for it. Like, a man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zieks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. Bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. That's what I'm trying. What's this all about? Like, there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zieks here. Without me? No way. Gregson, you dog. He's mine. It would appear the inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. So great, and let's return to your testimony.
Hold it!
Perhaps you'd see something of value on the forfeited items. I bet you he's a lion. Yeah, his persona's probably a lion or something. No, not at all. Oh. A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article in the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. There was no more in the shop than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in, or take it in for that matter. There was nothing in McGilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. Bruno, if you have some evidence, let him have it. Okay, alright. Oh, I shouldn't have seen. Okay, whatever. If you want to know what that says, then, like, play the game, I guess. I know, I'm actually curious. Yeah, I feel that. Get on with it, man. What else could have belonged to Mr. McGilded? Was it this? Did he not get the overcoat? That might be it.
Objection!
Nope, wasn't that. I couldn't remember, so let's see. Let's try the box then. 'Cause the box might have been for...
Objection!
It was a box. Shoot. This disc was deposited at Windbanks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbroker again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend. Get him, girl! But that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in Pawn at Windibanks. It's this second pawnbroker ticket proves. Ah. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibanks pawnbrokery. And the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Oh, not a second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. Ah. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads 1 small box. Rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with this clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd! Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. That means that for some reason, this Graydon fella needed the small box that very night, does it? It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. You be a little less cryptic, Lord Vanzix. I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windiback's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious! How? Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These prints were taken from one of the detective security cameras. Ah, these red-handed recorders again. As previously explained using this plan of the shop layout, the victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windibank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which the articles were placed once forfeited. According to the information on the ticket, McGilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident, 9 PM on 13th April to be precise. Which means it would have been on shelves and forfeited items in the shop room. Now what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 PM on 15th April. Victim certainly had a full shop with. Would appear. And then we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see, so we have 2 pictures. Oh, don't tell me. We're gonna stereoscope this. They're not the same. They're not the same. Are they the same? Dear me, that's starting to give me my headache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one possible motive in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector. Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the yard conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. My learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Don't act like you got shot, dude. We can get around. I don't believe it. I can just go and they stolen McGilden's pawn box. Oh, this dude's little dance getting on my nerves. Might have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Reno? I've been thinking. I wanted these 2 photographs really. Oh, thank you. Thank you. They're not. Right? So, we're gonna. Nothing was stolen. I don't know. There's a discrepancy. Try something? What do you mean, Council? You can use a certain piece of evidence. I'm not entirely sure.
Take that!
I'd like to use this device, my lord, to view the 2 prints stereoscopically. Ooh! Alright. Yes, you caught the bug at last. You can't resist it, can you? You've got the cross-eyed compulsion. Turn number 3. What a surprise. Come on, Bruno. Let's put the pictures in place and show what this wonderful, see what this wonderful contraption shows us. There we go. Now look through the eyepiece. I wasn't sure at first, but there's a clear discrepancy between these 2 prints. What? Yes! It did it! Early. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was actually gonna have to go cross-eyed and look for it. If I did that, I wouldn't have been able to. It would have taken me forever to figure out what was wrong with it.
Take that!
Granted, these 2 prints are almost identical. However, there's one minor discrepancy between them. What? When you view the 2 pictures stereoscope. Oh, I could. Oh, okay, thank God. When you view the 2 pictures stereoscopically. I'm glad that the game put in an alternative so I wouldn't have to do that. A single area stands out as being different. The location of this small... That happens. Oh, look at him! Look at him, he's trying! You go, Vanzix, you look good. Let me... Wait! Unbelievable! Unbelievable! That was the wrong voice. By Jove, you're right. Extraordinary. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilda's small box was indeed not stolen from Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Yeah, I can't say I blame him. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilda is in fact... Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen, which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but alright, McGilda's box wasn't stolen. It doesn't change the fact it changes everything. Someone could have opened it. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial again. The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that small box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Winterbanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zieks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once, obtain the small box in question, and bring it back here for further examination. Yeah. I'll get out of here. You're not important. We should have a report within half an hour. Half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. Be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zieks. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. This witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. Oh, exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of this trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established that he was the upstanding member of society his reputation implied. So I propose a toast to my learned friend's most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of his pockets, in a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. Oh, that does make rather good sense. All the rules must go goodness of Mr. McGill is rich enough. But you can't deposit cash to whatever, dudes. This argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. Explain what possible significance those commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case? Well, what's the matter, Bruno? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course, you and I both know that. Both know Mr. McGild's true character, and we know that the disc is significant even if we don't know why. Well, alcohol burns extremely quickly. West. There's a reason when you flambe something, you would pour like an alcohol in it. It hits the torch and catches fire. It's a bit of an exaggeration, sure, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for what would happen. And also, you have to, I assume only some of it is landing on the, only some of it would be landing on the fire, and most of it would be on the ground by the torch's base, which you can't see. Also probably on the ground, they just didn't want to render it. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that Mr. McGild's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. The defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. Oh no! And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. Ginny! Believe that Van Zieks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? That's what I think. But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry, what do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it you always say, Bruno? Sooner or later, the truth comes out, every time. Yeah, those hallowed chalices. I know, trust me. He probably just bought a big pack from Costco or something. Alright, the exact significance of the things Mr. McGill had deposited with Mr. Winterbank. Something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? I think we have to let her testify. The truth has to come out. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? That's funny. Yeah, I was thinking, every time he does it, I'm like, rip that guy. Or whoever was sitting there. While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilden's small box. His small package. I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand.
The defendant? To what end?
To do with the various articles deposited at Winterbanks by Mr. McGilden, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. We will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing, in particular, the impact it will have on the accused standing, and indeed your own. I have.
Lord Van Zieks, would you care to explain that last remark?
Prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself.
Very well, if you have no objection.
So the court
will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Gina Lestrade. Your witnesses are currently in the stand. Your witness is currently in the stand may step down until further notice.
You can't go now.
I shall bid you good day.
Nope. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Mr. Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina, it's time. This will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Bruno. This is intense. Oh my god. The articles that Mr. McGill had deposited in Winterbank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago.
Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well.
That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGill. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we all are again, the same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilden. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder, but as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged, that the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGill had died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself.
Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor this small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings.
Miss Lestrade. Would you tell the court now, please? What really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Gina, don't do this. Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, You have little credibility to lose. Stop bullying her, Van Zeeks. I love you, but you need to stop. Jenny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Bruno now. Iris, we're on your side. Alright then, I'll talk. The right choice, Gina. It would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it.
I must confess that I am struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGill pawned articles and that extraordinary case, the Omnibus, secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Mr. Strad, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements.
This is it then. Everything's gonna come out. Like Van Zeek said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. It's gonna get an Allegro theme. Yep. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair of the roof deck with the cold slops. That's when McGill had slapped the driver some tin to do it, run to the pawn shop around that. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing.
Good grief, this is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago.
As you say, my lord.
Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in Mr. McGillicud's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes.
Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. Well, no, we did what we were supposed to do, but the evidence was... You're wrong, the lawyer, Mr. Naraoto, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that?
He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free.
Practical, stop. The lies have to stop. Stop! Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGillicud's pawned articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Yeah, sorry, I just got to London like the other day, so like, it was my fault, you know, Given the depths of calamity you just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing.
Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord. Why me, Mr. Naruhodo?
Our counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
The nerve of this game to do something like this in case 3. Like, I still can't get over this. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Mr. Strahd? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, feel certain that you claim Mr. McGill was the sole passenger, did you not?
False testimony, my lord. That's what you told me I had to say. But it's important you tell the truth now. Were Mr. McGill and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear them talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well. What about to say? I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind. Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe, and all of a sudden, I heard a noise like something keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all.
And I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah, that's what gave me away. Then the Irishman dragged me out from the seat, under the seat, so the disc on the floor.
Hold it!
Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon this probably was. It was right next to the cove lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps?
Could this disc belong to the victim, perhaps?
I don't know, but McGill did pick it up pretty smartish. Then he sat the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at the time? He told me not to say a word about it, what I'd seen or heard to no one. Man, 2 jurors from the omnibus case are just in the jury again. And we're talking about the omnibus case again. What the hell? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. Had the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought I didn't go along with it. I get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions, like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too. For a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First it was kind of a rapping noise. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and the power on the roof deck went to call the slops.
Hold it!
There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. I just want to see something real quick. Oh look, it's Derma again. Excuse me for a second, I really have to take one more drink of this and get another bottle of water. Alright, back. Sorry about that, y'all. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and immediately got me out of sight.
Out of sight, where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the 2 coves from the roof ran to fetch the slops. had immediately left to fetch the police. It would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. With McGilda, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
Driver, yes, he also testified in trial, I believe.
Beppo.
Fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
Yes, the Italian. What did McGilda and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened and stuff like that, mainly.
Hold it!
That pawn shop obviously being Winterbanks on Baker Street.
Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
The excursion to the pawnbroker slipped his mind when he was in the stand.
Indeed, Lord Van Zieks.
McGilda took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all careful like before handing it over. I saw him do that. I remember thinking, that coat and what's gotta be worth a few bob. What's in it gotta be worth a few bob. Yes, Jean was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Winterbank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon in the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when Miss McGilda flashed some brass in his face. He went wrong off the lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. Threatened me not to snitch, yep. I knew how exactly. Told me I'd only be able to scar if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And did one other thing as well.
Which was?
He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket?
Well, I never.
If he didn't show up to get the ticket off me. Well, 2 months passed. I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in low. Stop it being forfeited. Yeah, but he left me with some brass to pay for it.
Really?
Why on earth would Mr. McGilda have done such a thing? Sneaking his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police. It makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilda had the driver deposit at Winterbanks was something he didn't want the police to see. What if thrice-fired Mason gave him that music disc to pay his debts, but McGilda, like, because it was valuable or something? Like, it's kind of like an MC Bomber situation, but like not a computer virus. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. What if that music box disc contains state secrets that are being leaked? I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. In like Morse or something, I don't know. So I liked it before the copper showed up. Well done, Gina. It can't be easy to tell the truth like that. Gina's really put her faith in you, Runa. I thank her. I'll show the trick. Oh, I didn't even notice.
Hold it! Excuse me.
Inspector, Mr. Graydon. Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion with this fella? Pull the other one, Sunshine. I got anything to talk about a shady gent like this? I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective right after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating.
Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding what actually transpired in the omnibus.
It would appear that on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. Negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGildy took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. This disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, but I don't understand why as yet. Holmes is gonna come in here with a music box, it's gonna be like, yo! And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, because he does have a copy, so he could theoretically find something to do it and then bring it in. McGildy's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I don't know what I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the quote died right after his trial. I knew that. So you decided you would try to claim the articles as Joe. Claim the articles as Joe. Well, why not? They're only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have gotten them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Mrs. Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGildy was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. They're probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord. Hey, baby. Baby. Bailiff, boy.
The evidence your lordship question has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir.
Mysterious little box deposited by McGildy 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that's the key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. Oh, God, I went to the bathroom and everything. All right, y'all. We're gonna take another break. I think this is a good time for it. We'll come back at about 12:25 Eastern, so that's 10 minutes from now. So go get drinks, eat a snack, whatever you need to do, and I will catch you back here in a little bit for the next part of the trial. Maybe the last. I don't know.